Well, good morning. Happy Sunday. Welcome to Making Music with Joy and Purpose. My name is Jo Kirk, better known as Mrs. Jo, and it has been such a joy being with you during the LMEA virtual conference this year. Before we get started, I'd like to share a couple of important things about our time together right now. Number one, sadly, I am sad to say that I am not able to be with you virtually today. However, I am available. I have my email. I will be by my email. And on my handout, hopefully you have your handout, you'll see that I have my email address. During this session, you can email me, or even after this session, email me with your comments, your questions, and I'll be very happy to respond. Second is all of the visuals that I'm going to be using today are in your handout. If they are not in your handout, email me and say, I couldn't find it. Would you please send it to me? And I'd be very happy to do that. And third, and most important, those of you who have been with me in the other two sessions, this hasn't changed. Number three is most important. At this very moment, each of us is sitting in front of a screen. Now, if you've done any research about screens and television, you know that it puts the brain on white noise after about 10 minutes. And so research has shown that if you really want to learn what is and take in what is being shared, you have to participate. You have to do. Even if you're a visual or an auditory learner, research shows that when you combine that kinesthetic with how you're learning, your brain processes the information faster and you remember it, and it's there. So also, research shows that if you don't do it, guess what? You won't use it. So this next 50 minutes or so would be for naught. So what I'd like you to do is be like my students. Be like what you would want your students to do. Participate. So once we begin, let me tell you, my friends, sitting and watching is not an option. I want you to be involved. So let's get started, and we'll be. Wait, what? What was that? Did you hear that? There it was again. What's the sound? What's a clap? They interrupted me. But wait, what's the meter? 1, 2, 3. It's 4 meter. But what beat do they clap on? Check it out. Clap on only that beat 4. Oh, wait. I'm going to stop it. Guess what? I have an idea. Just do what I do. This is going to be so much fun. Hold on. Here we go. Right from the beginning. Listen. There it is. There it is again. Get yours ready. Only clap on beat 4. Follow me. goodness, my friends, guess what? Teach music and singing at school in such a way that it is not torture. Say that word with me, ready? Torture. Have you been in classes that it seemed like torture? I think we all have. Don't be like that. Here we go, listen. Teach music and singing at school in such a way that it is not torture. Say it with me, ready? Torture, but joy. Say it, ready? But joy. Teach music and singing at school in such a way that it is not torture, but a joy for the pupil. Instill a thirst. Say thirst, ready? Thirst. Instill a thirst for the finer music in him or her. A thirst that will last a lifetime. Sultan Kodály. Oh my goodness. I love that quote. I really do. Now, please allow me to begin again after we were so joyfully interrupted. Well, today we will be exploring singing games, songs, active listening experiences to discover how these experiences can lead our students to, number one, the joy of singing. Listen, the singing together is wonderful. I don't see you, but I have a feeling that you're singing with me. Those of you who are in COVID settings, such as limited people in your classroom or virtual or hybrid, you've got to act like they're always there, right there with you, because that's what the joy is. That's that connecting together. So connecting together through singing and making music is number one. The joy of listening. Oh my goodness, yes. Joy, there is joy in listening. Can you believe that? And then last, to joyfully develop musical literacy skills. If you're a Kodaly teacher, I'm not going to do them in a sequence. I'm just going to pick out some of my favorites today. So let's get started making music with joy and purpose. Because before COVID, I had been invited to come to Louisiana and present, and I was so excited. And my friend, John Brown, he said, Mrs. Jo, I'm going to take you to Louisiana. I've never been there, and we're going to go in style. And I said, we're going to go in style? Wow, this is pretty cool. And then I said, how? He said, I'm going to take you in my car. And then he opened the garage door. He went, open the garage door, ready? And I looked in and, oh my, you won't believe what I saw. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire, and he fixed it with a piece of gum. Oh, you said, what's a flivver? Well, let me show you what a flivver is. This is what I saw. This is a flivver. It's his car. A flivver is a 20th century slang for an automobile, for a car. It was the nickname for the Ford Model T. And look, it didn't start with the key, no, or with the fob, or with the swipe of your hand. Look, right there is the crank. If you wanted to get this car started, you had to crank it to get started. Can you imagine? Well, it was the first, the flivver, the Model T, was the first mass-produced automobile. This is the first automobile that was ever made. Yes. Well, I looked at old John and I said, I don't think I want to go because it doesn't sound safe. And he said, what? So I told him. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire, and he fixed it with a piece of gum. He said, well, what's wrong with that? And I said, well, there's a problem. Help me. Listen. Tell me what the problem is with his flivver. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire, and he fixed it with a piece of gum. What was the problem? Tell me. Gotta say it with your voice. You're right. It had a flat. But how did you know that there was a flat? Listen again and see whether there's a word that I didn't hear the word flat, but maybe there's another word. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire, and he fixed it with a piece of gum. How did you know that there was a puncture? A flat. Yeah, that's right. I told you the answer, didn't I? Did you check it out? Was I right? The word was puncture. The puncture. And when there's a puncture, oh, that's not a good sound. No. You know what the sound is? Show me what the sound is when you hear a puncture in the tire. That's right. It goes sss. Help me make that puncture sound. Sss. Well, he fixed it with something. Tell me how he's going to fix it. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire, and he fixed it with a piece of gum. How did he fix it? He fixed it, yep, with a piece of gum. He said, oh, it works just fine. Just stick it right on there. And I said, oh, I don't know. It still sounds like it's not very safe. And all of a sudden I saw this. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire, and he fixed it with a piece of gum. What did I see? I saw him cranking his car to start, and then he was looking at the tire. Okay, crank it so it starts. Okay, show me your tire. All right, help me. Put those motions in. If you put your singing voices on, maybe you can help me. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire, and he fixed it with a piece of gum. Oh my goodness, my friends. He was trying to fix it, but things got worse. Let me show you. Everybody stand up. Whoops. Let me move my chair back out here. There we go. And he said, I watched him, and he went, John Brown's had a puncture in the tire. John Brown's had a puncture in the tire. John Brown's had a puncture in the tire, and he fixed it with a piece of gum. What did he do? Yeah, he was trying to start it. Was there a sound? No. Help me. Just do the motion on the word crank. Don't sing the word. Ready? Here we go. John Brown's had a puncture in the tire. John Brown's had a puncture in the tire. John Brown's had a puncture in the tire, and he fixed it with a piece of gum. Well, he was working very, very hard, and then things got worse. Listen, tell me, what got worse? John Brown's had a s in the tire. John Brown's had a s in the tire. John Brown's had a s in the tire, and he fixed it with a piece of gum. What was the problem? The puncture got bigger. Did you hear it? Do it with me. Sss. Now this time, don't say crank and don't say punch. Here we go. Oh, I just put it in your head. John Brown's had a s in the tire. John Brown's had a s in the tire. John Brown's had a s in the tire, and he fixed it with a piece of gum. Oh my goodness. Well, John, he got down and he looked at the tire, and he told me this way. John Brown's, start again. John Brown's had a s in the. John Brown's had a s in the. John Brown's had a s in the, and he fixed it with a piece of gum. Did you see? I really need help on that. Could you please help me? We're going to put the puncture, or the crank, the puncture, and then the tire. But you can't sing them. You got to do them. Ready? John Brown's had a s in the. John Brown's had a s in the. John Brown's had a s did he fix it? Listen. John Brown's had us in the, John Brown's had us in the, John Brown's had us in the, and he fixed it with a piece of boom. Help me, right? John Brown's had us in the, John Brown's had us in the, John Brown's had us in the, and he fixed it with a piece of boom. No, that's how he fixed it. And that's what I do the first day. The next day, the class comes in. I say, oh my goodness. John said, Mrs. Jo, I finally got it started. I got my flivver started, and I listened to it. And it was skipping beats, and it was stuttering, and it was spitting all over. And this is what it looked like and sounded like. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. We have ta, ta, skipping, 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 ta, oh, ta, ta, skipping, 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 ta, oh, ta, ta, skipping, 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 ta, skipping, 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 ta, 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 oh, ah, oh. My students have no ta-os and ta-o, yep. And oh my goodness, let me show you what it looked like when he took it out on the road. And I do have this on the board, or on the overhead or whatever you're using. And I said, oh my goodness, this is a mess. It is. And I'm going to show you, if I can get it standing up here. Let's go a little bit. There we go. Now I've got it. That is. All right. So, on the tas, we're going to step ta, ta. Help me, ready? Ta, ta. If you have your hand out, you might want to look at it so you can see, because I have it there, so it will help having the visual. The tas are ta, ta. And on all the S's, we're going to skip. Skipping, 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 skipping. But on ta-o, we're going to go ta-o and right back. So it's ta, ta, skipping, 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 ta-o. Help me with that, ready? Ta, ta, skipping, 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 ta-o. Ta, ta, skipping, 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 ta-o. Ta, ta, skipping, 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 ta, skipping, 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 ta, ta, then ta-o, ah-o. This is the Reader's Digest condensed version, but you got the idea, right? Here we go. And all of a sudden, I heard him go down the road like this. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire, and he fixed it with a piece of gum. Want to try it with me? Here we go. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire. John Brown's flivver had a puncture in the tire, and he fixed it with a piece of gum. Oh, put your brakes on. Oh my goodness. John, I don't know what you're going to do. But during a game, like John Brown's flivver, during a game, the song is freer, and it generates the feeling of pleasure. It's so much fun. And the other thing is, I'm doing it independently. I don't have to worry about somebody else's body and making my body fit theirs. So I'm independent. So during the game, this game particularly, the song is freer and generates a feeling of pleasure. Yet, the internal beat of the music and its regular repeated movements means that the student voluntarily accepts discipline because they want to do it, because it's joyful, it's fun. This kind of unimposed structure increases the student's sense of security. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, when we teach from 4th grade on up, we've got to really think about the sense of being secure. Because that 5th grader will see you do this, and they'll say, oh my goodness, he wants me to do what? She wants me to do that. Wait, what if I can't do it? Oh, we're all going to do it together. They're so self-conscious. And there's that peer pressure that begins. And so they might say, let's not do it. But really, research shows that they really want to do it. It's that peer pressure. So we need to give our students an environment of safety. Say it with me, ready? Point at me, ready? Safety. And I have one rule that I use throughout everything I do, from my pre-K clear through my graduate level. And that rule is, you will never, do you understand me? You will never laugh at anybody's honest effort. Of course, then you have to talk about what an honest effort is and what an effort that isn't honest is. But why? Why do I have that? Because I believe strongly that the pure soul of the child must be sacred. It must be considered sacred. What we implant there must stand every test. If we put ugly stuff there, it's not going to be good. No. So the pure soul of the child must be considered sacred. What we implant there must stand every test. So let's give the next thing our honest effort. I brought a pretend beach ball. Now watch. Up. Everybody stand up. Take your pretend beach ball. Oh, no, wait. Don't take yours yet. Let me show you mine. It's about this big, and I'm going to push, catch, push, catch. Say that with me. Ready? Push, catch, push, catch. And it looks like this. Push, catch, push, catch. Good. Now, you get your pretend ball and help me say it and do it. Ready? Push, catch, push, catch, push, catch, push, catch. Oliver Twist, you can't do this, so what's the use of trying? Touch your knees, touch your toes, clap your hands, and around you go. And stop. Hold your pretend one. There we go. Now, again, this is the Reader's Digest condensed version. I would do it at least 2 more times just with the push sketch to develop that skill. But let's move on to the next one. Tell me, I heard in this song that they're asking us to touch different body parts, some movements that are going on. Listen, tell me what they are. Oliver Twist, you can't do this, so what's the use of trying? Touch your knees, touch your toes, clap your hands, and around you go. Stop. Okay, what were they? Okay, touch your knees. If they don't answer, if they forget, then it gives you another time to sing. Okay, so that's what you do if they go. Just don't tell them, sing it again, because it gives you an opportunity to sing the song so they can sing it themselves. Okay, touch your knees, but then what? Touch your toes, then clap your hands, and around you go. And the round you go looks like this. Whee! And I would actually separate that. Just say, touch your knees, touch your toes, clap your hands, and around you go. And then I would put the visual in with it so that you're really breaking it down. Here, let's take our pretend and see if we can all do it together. Here we go. Push, catch, push, catch. Oliver Twist, you can't do this, so what's the use of trying? Touch your knees, touch your toes, clap your hands, and around you go. Whee! Let's put it in the sound again. Oliver Twist, you can't do this, so what's the use of trying? Touch your knees, touch your toes, clap your hands, and around you go. Whee! Oh, but look what I brought today. I brought a beach ball. I did. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to push, catch, push, catch, push, catch, push, catch. And I only have one, and so I get to demonstrate for the children. So they're still doing push, catch with their hands. Oliver Twist, you can't do this, so the circle without breaking the steady beat. Okay? However, we're going to skip that game because we don't have big people to play with or other people to play with. What the game is, and they can do it virtually too, is put the motions with the ball. Oliver Twist, you can't do this, so what's the use of trying? Touch your knees, touch your toes, clap your hands, and around you go. I did it! I did it! Wait, maybe you should try. Ready? Here we go. Oliver Twist, you can't do this, so what's the use of trying? Touch your knees, touch your toes, clap your hands. Whoop, 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 whoop. Come in. Oh, you know, if that happens, don't fall apart because they need to see that teachers make mistakes too. It's a great lesson. Ready? Touch your knees, touch your toes, clap your hands. Here we go. This is Jo. Now I'm nervous. And around you go. Ah! Woo! It got away from me. But obviously you're supposed to catch it. I caught it in practice. I really did. Ah, and then everybody just laughs. It's so much fun. So, well, Oliver said, Mrs. Jo, you know what? I'm going to drive my car from Ohio down to Louisiana just to check things out because I'm on assignment. I've got my motor running. I'm headed down the highway. I'm looking for some adventure in whatever comes my way, and I think it's going to be quite an adventure. And oh, what? Here he comes now. Here comes Oliver. Oh, look at his car. I've got a car, it's made of tin. Nobody knows what shape it's in. Got 4 doors and a running board. It's not a Chevy, it's a Ford. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk. Oh my goodness, what a car. Oh, wait. Tell me, was this car in good condition? Listen, I've got a car, it's made of tin. Nobody knows what shape it's in. Got 4 doors and a running board. It's not a Chevy, it's a Ford. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk. Yeah, it did. Now tell me, was it in good condition? Says, I've got a car made of tin. Nobody knows what shape it's in. Oh, I don't know. Do you? What do you think, though? Wait, how many doors did it have? I've got a car, it's made of tin. Nobody knows what shape it's in. Got 4 doors and a running board. It's not a Chevy, it's a Ford. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk. How many doors did it have? 4 doors. And it said it had something else. I've got a car, it's made of tin. Nobody knows what shape it's in. Got 4 doors and a running board. It's not a Chevy, it's a Ford. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk. And by this time, teachers, the students are starting to do the motions so that, because that's the joy. But I have one more question. What make is his car? Ready? You can help me sing it. I've got a car, it's made of tin. Nobody knows what shape it's in. Got 4 doors and a running board. It's not a Chevy, it's a Ford. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk. What kind of car was it? Said it wasn't a Chevy, it was a Ford. Aha, yes, sir. But now, if you can get through that quickly, you can go to the next step. However, if my rule of thumb is stop when they're begging for more. So what I probably would do is do this game seated, but not make it a game. Let me tell you what let me show you what the game is. So on day 2, we're on day 2. Review it, and then say, I have a challenge game. Have everybody stand up, and you stand in a circle, because the joy of this is for everybody to see everyone, each other, okay? So, here's the challenge. I want to see who can do the motions without making a mistake or singing too much. All right? So that's the contest. It's a contest. Ready? Here we go. I've got a car, it's made of tin. Nobody knows what shape it's in. Got 4 doors and a running board. It's not a Chevy, it's a Ford. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk. And someone will say rattle. And if they say rattle, you'll go, no, no, yeah. But if you're out, you don't go sit down. You keep on being in the circle and sing, and because you got to find out who's going to be the winner. Ready? And that first time, maybe 2 people will go out. All right, here it is. Ready? I've got a car, it's made of tin. Nobody knows what shape it's in. Got 4 doors and a running board. It's not a Chevy, it's a Ford. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk. If they go, beep, honk, you're out. This time you've got about 5 or 6 that will go out, but they're not. They still have to keep the clapping going. Ready? Here we go. Challenge still on. We're going to see who's the winner. Ready? I've got a car, it's made of tin. Nobody knows what shape it's in. Got 4 doors and a running board. It's not a Chevy, it's a Ford. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk. This time, yeah, you guys, a lot of you are out. I've only got about 7 left. Here we go. I've got a car, it's made of tin. Nobody knows what shape it's in. Got 4 doors and a running board. It's not Chevy, it's a Ford. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk, rattle, 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 crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk. Now you're down to 3. Oh my goodness. Shake it out. Shake it out. Ready? I've got a car. Oh, I better give you. I've got a car, it's made of tin. Nobody knows what shape it's in. Got 4 doors and a running board. It's not Chevy, it's a Ford. Honk, 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 rattle, rattle, crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk, rattle, rattle, crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk, rattle, rattle, crash, beep, beep. Honk, honk. Even I was out. Who was it? Now you might take me down to 2, and so just keep it up until it goes. It's such a delightful game. And my junior high love it. It's so much fun. I start this game in about 4th grade, right? You see, it's all about the joy. Say, it's all about the joy with me, ready? It's all about the joy. I feel strongly that if we go for the joy, we're going to get everything else, because our students are going to thirst for more, just like the quote, thirst for the higher things in life. So we've just shared the joy of 4 musical experiences. Soldier at the Fire with the clap on beat 4, John Brown's Flivver, Oliver Twist, and I've Got a Car. So let's move on to what's the purpose. I'm a Kodály educator, and I want to have them become musically literate. So what's the purpose behind this? Here we go. The main pedagogy, this is Kati Forrai. She was the leading Hungarian early childhood music Kodai specialist. She was amazing. And she says in her book, the main pedagogical value of the game lies in the shared enjoyment and natural group feeling. Nothing is gained if the student sings the game and stands rigidly. No. Rigidly at attention, making sure they are using precise enunciation and diction. It kills the joy, ladies and gentlemen. That's what she says. This kills the joy of the game. We should be focused on the joy of singing, the pleasure of the game, and the sheer excitement of the group experience is paramount. And she says in her book, this joy is even more important than musical considerations. When I read this, in my book, it's circled in red, because here's the leading early childhood music specialist, Kodaly specialist in Hungary, where musical literacy is what they want. She's saying that the joy is even more important than the musical considerations, because the lady knew that if you didn't go for the joy, you're not going to get to the understanding of musical concepts. And when you break this down into research, we find that there's three domains of learning. The first is the affective. The affective domain is how I feel about it, if I value this experience. So we can teach to the affective. And then there's the psychomotor, and that is the body and the mind working together. The body, the mind telling the body what to do and how to respond. And then there's the cognitive, and that's the knowing, the knowledge, the learning, the things that the literacy part. Personally, I have always felt, when asked, which of those will you teach to? And my answer right away was the affective. Because if you don't value what I have, you're going to switch off. So I want for them to value what I have. My students value what I have. The second purpose is to share what I know, what we know, what we cherish, and what we love with our students. And that's music. Not only doing it, but having musical literacy. You see, it's really about the literacy. I found that when I started to teach literacy, my students valued music more. And I love Kodai's quote. He says, the quote is his definition of what musical literacy is. Kodai says, this is what musical literacy is. It is to hear what you see and to see what you hear. I had to read it again the first time. I went, that's brilliant. In other words, if I see a piece of music, I should be able to hear it inside my head instead of having to go to the piano or to my cornet that I was playing at that time. To hear what I see. Oh my goodness. And to see what I hear. In other words, if I'm driving down the road in the car, and I hear a piece of music that I love, and I go, what is that? I'll start to figure out what the melodic content is, or what the rhythmic content is, because I can hear what I see, and I can see what I hear. Wow. So, what was the musical purpose, the literacy purpose, behind all four of these joyful experiences? In Soldier by the Fire, which was the clap, number 1, listening. If I can't get my students, no matter what age you are, to listen, I'm dead in the water. Listening. Number 2, the steady beat. Number 3, there was something that was accented, right? So that accented beat, about beat 4. And number 4, that it moved in 4-ta meter, 4-4 meter. And that 4, actually, when we started to do the motions, do you ever realize, as a conductor, you probably have, some of you conduct a lot, that actually beat 4 is as important as beat 1, because it's beat 4 that makes beat 1 important. 1, 2, 3, wait, 1, 2, and Joe. 1, 2, 3, 4. I finally got it. Thanks for waiting. And then 1. If it wouldn't be for that upbeat, 1 wouldn't be so important. Next, it's because it's a higher form of listening skill, and independent movement. I love this activity because it is independent movement. John Brown's Flivver is next. My purpose was threefold. There was an inner hearing purpose, a rhythmic purpose, and a melodic purpose. We were practicing known rhythms of ta, or the quarter note, or whatever you call your ta, the quarter note, then the half note, ta-o, or whatever speech rhythm duration syllables you use, and then ta-o-a-o, the whole note. So it was practicing that, and then I was preparing with our skipping the dotted 8th 16th note. Let me show you. This is what will come later once we know what skipping is all about. Okay, so that's what I was preparing. And then later on, and so when it comes time, instead of skipping, we go ta, ta, ti, timri, 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 ta, o. So we actually sing the rhythm. The other thing that I'm preparing is that this song has T in two places. So I'm preparing T. And if you can see in my visual, I have a question mark where they come. What's that sound? Okay. And then the last one that I would have would be where we have, I've presented it and labeled it, and so this would be the practice. Let's see, down here. And then I do a relay game, and the relay game is do, ti, do, ti, do, ti. Which sound is lower? T, okay? So they have to pass the ball over their head to the next person. Do, but the next person has to pass it between their legs because that's the lower sound. T. Now, if that doesn't make sense, maybe next year at the LMEA conference, I can show you what it looks like, okay? And then the last is I share the historical type of information to the children. On Oliver Twist, I use it, believe it or not, I use it for older beginning. This is a gem for older beginners because of the game, the joy that the game brings. It is the simple melody. So la 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 la. It's just a so mi la song, and it also prepares the interval mi la. It prepares tuta meter, because it's tuta. It prepares conducting. Did you realize that as we pushed the ball down toward the floor, push, catch, do it with it, push, catch, push, catch. What are you doing? You're conducting two. So we're setting up the muscle pattern for conducting two, and obviously it's steady beat. I've got a car, it's made of tin. Let me get this one, tempo, because once we have the song learned, it's all about getting faster. It's also preparing tika, the 8th to 16th. It's writing and reading, it's movement, it's practicing ray. This is, once I introduce the tika, this is a handout that I give to the children. I don't think I included this in your handout because I didn't make it. But it gives you an idea of, and they have to write the rhythms of these words that are recited. Okay, and when I said practice ray, listen to this. This is so much fun. Mi, so, la, mi, so, mi, so, la, mi, re, do, mi, so, la, mi, so, mi, so, la, mi, re, do, mi, re, mi, do, mi, re, mi, do. Will they love to sing that ray? They do. That take it from me. So how does all this work? How do we combine the joy and the purpose? How do we get our students to the point of understanding musical concepts where they possess a true working knowledge. Say working knowledge with me. Working knowledge. A true working knowledge and understanding of music. That it's just not surface information. When they see a quarter note, they say, it's a quarter note, it gets one beat. Or the 4/4, well, the top number is 4 beats in a measure, and the quarter note gets the beat. Yeah. I memorized that. At the beginning, I really didn't understand it. I just wanted to make the teacher happy. And the teacher thought I was brilliant, but I really didn't understand at the very beginning. So I offer you 2 basic principles of the Kodai methodology. The Kodai methodology is a logical, sequential, developmentally appropriate approach to musical literacy through sight singing, through the singing voice. So the first is the Kodai Sequence. This is the sequence that we use at Wichita State University, and the sequence takes you from the very simplest foundational concepts, musical concepts, in grade K, or level K, I say level K, to level 5, which goes to, oh my goodness, the modes. Amazing. And there's a sequence that I use. And this sequence helps prepare from simple to the most complex, so that I know where I'm going. What guides this sequence? It's the 3 pedagogical stages of musical instruction that we implement. The 3 are prepare stage, the present stage, and the practice stage. The prepare stage is where we do all the games, like I just did. What's the student's responsibility? The student's responsibility is to play the games. That's what they're doing. They're singing, they're playing, they're moving. They're subconsciously learning and moving to the musical concepts that I want them to learn. And it's student-centered. It's all about them. In the present stage, it's all about me. And it's only about 10 minutes, because that's where I get to label. And when I label, I say, you identify it, you label, and you symbolize. To identify it is when you say, oh, did you hear that? I heard something new. So your first time you call their attention to things that they've been doing. Second is to label it. You give it a name, and then symbolize it. You write it. You write it. And third is the practice stage. And that's where I can use all these, I can use musical writing and reading to teach something new and to practice old. It's so wonderful. So basically, all of my instruction today was in the preparation stage. But once a concept has been presented, we enter into the practice stage with joy. Instead of, well, let me just memorize it. Now the literacy becomes the joy, the value, and that motivates our students to learn. My friends, we've run out of time. I cannot believe this. I had so many other things to do. Maybe next year when we get together, I'll be able to do more. That would be so much fun. Thank you for sharing your morning with me. As the session closes, it is my prayer that you found value in the information that was shared, and that it will be beneficial as you leave and enter your classroom again. And I hope it gives you also a brighter outlook and understanding of the importance of making music with joy and purpose. Thank you so much. God bless.